Well, what is going on there, ladies and gentlemen? I am Monster Man Vapes coming back, and welcome to episode 5 of the pre-made wire / coil review series. And in this episode, we are going to be taking a look at Medusa Staggered Fused Claptons. Now, to kind of give you guys a little bit of information about Medusa, these are Canthal Staggered Fused Claptons. They are using 26 gauge as the cores and 32 gauge as the outer wraps. So, without any hesitation, and me not talking your ear off, let's dive down the table and take a closer look at these coils. Okie spankin' dokie, folks. So here we are, Medusa coils. Staggered Fused Claptons, 0.45 per coil. As you see right there, it says Canthal. You get one pair in this little bag. And there are the wires that are used. 26 gauge with 32 and 32. MedusaCoils.com right there. And on the back, you get your coils there in a clear panel on the back there, but let's take a closer look at them. So the first things first, open up the package. So when you open up the packaging, this is what you get. You get your 2 Staggered Fused Clapton coils, as well as a pad of organic Japanese cotton. I do not recommend using this. Use your own cotton, but if you don't have your own cotton, then yeah, go ahead and use this. Me personally though, if you have your own cotton, use that. So here is a closer look at those Staggered Fused Claptons. As you can see here, for the most part, they are very decently made. However, you do see a couple little rough spots, like right here on this coil. It's kind of the same thing on this part of the coil right there. So there are some good spots, but then there are some bad spots. So to each his own. Definitely could have made these a little bit better. So putting a screwdriver through them, these appear to be 3 millimeters. So the next step is to install them into an RDA and see if there's any major hot spots. And the RDA I'm going to be using is the Twisted Messes 24 Pro. As you notice in all my videos on reviewing wire and coils, you'll notice that I've used this RDA on every single video, and that's because I'm trying to keep the variable the same as far as the atomizer, so that way the only thing changing is the coil to really see if the coils are good or if they're not so good. One thing I have to point out though, you see the way they're wrapped the opposite direction than what most people do. Most people, when they wrap a coil, they'll usually wrap it this way, but these were wrapped that way. Hence to why on the right side of the coil, the lead is going down. So it may cause a bit of an issue to get cotton in, but we'll see what happens. So the one thing I'm going to point out here is that during the installation process, if you put your coil right up against the post, it's not very springy, it's not very soft, so you're not going to really have any ability to pull it away from the post. You kind of have to do your best to place it where you want it. Alright, that is the first coil installed. Let's put the second coil in. Alright, both coils are installed. Next process, dry burn to see how many hot spots there are and if they're a pain in the ass to get out. So as I first start firing these, I got about 95 watts. There are definitely a few hot spots. You can see one right there. A couple right over here. So let's get those out. Second time around, he's glowing pretty nice. This guy still needs some work. Third dry fire attempt. Not bad. Getting there. I raised the wattage up to 150, so this will be the fourth dry burn attempt. Let's see what we got. Perfect. So the next step is to wick them up, juice them up, bring it back up top and see how they vape. Alright guys, we're back up top here with the Medusa Staggered Fused Clapton coils. Now as you saw on the down low, they were a bit on the janky side, but you know, they're probably machined, not handmade, so you're probably going to run into rough spots. I don't feel right about machine-made coils, but to each his own. So on the packaging, it said per coil they would come out to a 0.45, so I dualed them up. So you're thinking probably around a 0.22, 0.23, maybe at the lowest a 0.2. Right now they're clocking in at a 0.19, so yeah, I would say that's pretty close. Got 150 watts, which is 5.49 volts on the Maxo 315. Another thing to mention, those little janky spots in the coils, they create a couple of pretty severe hot spots. They were kind of a pain to get out a little bit, but as you saw, 4 attempts to get them to glow, and they weren't that bad. Spitback is definitely there, probably due to it being a staggered fused Clapton, or probably because of those jank spots, because as you saw, there are quite a few around the entire coil. Another thing that is kind of a pain, especially when it comes to building on something like the Twisted Metal 24, which all 4 holes are horizontal from each other, is that since they're wrapped counterclockwise, not clockwise like most coils are, on the end, at the edge of the coil up by the juice well wall, the lead goes under, so it kind of leaves you less room to put cotton, especially down that little side. The flavor on them is mediocre at best. They're not crazy on the flavor. They're not, it's not like in your face flavor, but they're kind of average, maybe slightly below average in my opinion. There is a bit of spitback, not a whole lot, but there is some. Overall, they could have been made a little bit better. And even though these coils are made for more someone who is starting to get into rebuildables, who cannot make their own coils yet, and kind of would like to experience a more exotic build, yes, it's a good idea. However, it could be a much better experience for the person if the coils were wrapped the other direction. Wrapped like this instead of like this. Do I recommend them? If you really want to try them out, if you really kind of want to see if you want to see if there is a difference between a staggered fused or a traditional fused Clapton, then go for it. Otherwise, there are better options out there. So that concludes this episode of the pre-made wire / coil series, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I value all my subscribers. Come join the family. Come join the Vapor Cave. As always, folks, until next time, Mossman Vapes, signing off.